Hello, my name is Pablo Arellano. I'll be talking to you about the skeletal system. The skeletal system is involved in body locomotion and provides the basic morphology of the body that allows us to maintain a bipedal posture, that is, in 2 feet. The locomotor apparatus consists of bones joined together by joints and ligaments. Tendons connect muscle to bone continuously. The nervous system coordinates all of the parts. Together, these systems allow us to move. Structure and function of the skeletal system. An adult has 206 bones, while children have 300. This is because during growth some bony pieces are fused. By its shape, we can classify the bones as flat, long, irregular, and sesamoid. According to the organization of the bone elements, there are two types of bone: the compact or concordial and the spongy or the tubercular. The skeletal system functions are: it is the support of the whole organism. It participates in locomotion, protects vital organs such as the heart and lungs, brain and spinal cord. Bone structure. The skeleton divides in two regions: the axial skeleton, which includes the bones of the head and the torso, and the appendicular skeleton, which is formed by the extremities. The number of bones varies with age. On average, in the adult, there are 206.
Hi, my name is Arturo. I'm going to talk about the muscular system. The muscular system is constituted by the muscular cells and sheets of connective tissue that cover them and connect the muscular masses with the rest of the locomotor system. Muscle cells. The most characteristic part of the muscle cells are their contractile capacity but their possibility to shorten their length and then return to their original form. This thing is possible thanks to their capacity to carry out contraction and relaxation cycles through the action of the contractile apparatus, which is constituted by the exoskeleton. According to the way in which they organize their contractile apparatus, muscle cells are classified into types: striated and smooth. The division of the striated muscle includes the skeletal and cardiac muscles. In the case of the smooth muscle, the organization of the contractile apparatus is different. Skeletal striated muscle. The skeletal striated muscle fibers are elongated and multinucleated cells of cylindrical morphology. The cytoplasm of each skeletal striated muscle cell contains the contractile apparatus constituted by the myofibrils, which are the thin filaments of actin and the thick filaments of myosin, both for the sarcometer, that is the functional unit of the striated muscle. Contraction and relaxation cycle. The contraction and relaxation cycle in a skeletal muscle cell begins when cells respond to the nervous stimulus, which favors the release of Ca2 in the smooth endoplasmic reticulum. Then there are various diseases and injuries that affect the muscular system, but I'm going to explain the sprain luxation and the tear disease. A sprain is an injury of the filaments of the ligaments caused by excessive distension, torsion, and tearing. The luxation is more severe injury that involves a change in the position of the joints and bone separation. The tear, this injury involves a muscle cell breaking because the muscle is a fiber. If it stresses too much, it can break. And this is the end of the muscular system.
Hi, we're going to talk about the integumentary system. The integumentary system composes of skin and nails. The skin is the one that is composed about the epidermis, dermis, and hypodermis. As we all may know, the skin is one of the largest organs in all the body. Even the blood vessels are smaller than the area that covers the skin. The skin is also introduced as an defense because it protects not also our muscles but our lungs, organs, and other things that if it was exposed, it will be more infected than we are our. Okay, now the skin it contains corneum, lucidum, granule, spinosum, and basal carotid. These are some parts that compose of the skin. Also, there are two types of skin. There's the thin skin and the thick skin. The thick skin is more sensitive and does not grow hair, as it can be our hands or our feet. And the thin skin can be all the parts of our body that grows hair, and also it is less sensitive. Also, in the integumentary system, it contains two glands. The first one is the one that excretes the sweat when the body temperature increases, but the other it decreases the sweat 24 hours and in constant.
Hi, my name is Humberto and I'm going to talk about the circulatory system. First, it is composed by heart, blood, and blood vessels. Its function is to bring the cells and the blood through all the parts of the body and our organism. It also transports some of oxygen and nutrients through the blood. The heart is of the size of our fist. It transports the blood by pumping and exhaling it through the blood vessels. Blood vessels divide into two groups, veins and arteries. Veins pass the blood without oxygen, and then it goes through the heart and gets oxygen, so they are called now arteries.
Hello, I'm Pablo Arellano. I'll be talking to you about the immune system. The immune system is a complex system consisting of cellular and humoral components or secretions whose function is to recognize between the own and the not own of our body, thus providing defense mechanisms against infections and tolerance to the components of the organism itself. A test of the function of the immune system, which is to fight infection, is a large number of persistent infections suffered by individuals suffering from an immunodeficiency. Structure and function. The immune system comprises a group of cells, tissues, and organs whose objective is to recognize the components of our body and discriminate them from those that are not. Immunity is protection against an infectious agent. It can be in two forms, innate and adaptive immunity. The innate and adaptive immunological responses. Innate immunity is the first line of defense. It is characterized as an immediate response. It acts when we come into contact with the pathogenic microorganisms. It is non-specific, that is, it does not offer a particular reaction for each pattern of pathogens. Its components are physical barriers, such as the skin and mucous membranes that line the mouth, and cellular components. Innate immunity is very effective. However, it cannot protect us against all infections, which is why we have developed a recognition strategy that is adaptive immunity, also known as specific or acquired. It is characterized as a delayed response because it requires more time to take action. It has memory, that is, vertebrates have cells capable of recognizing pathogens with which at some point we have been in contact with, and it is specific for each pattern of pathogens.
Okay, my name is Andres Escobar and I will explain you the nervous system. Well, in specifically, I'm going to explain the nervous system, the structure and function of the macroscopic structure, but later on I will explain the microscopic structure. Now, what is the nervous system? The nervous system is a functional system in organisms which has responses to language, stimuli, and external environment, and is responsible of complex and diverse functions, such as language, emotions, creativity, and intelligence. The nervous system is mainly located in the brain and the spinal cord, but it has a lot of more functions which I will explain now. Structure and function, and I will explain the macroscopic structure. The central nervous system consists of the encephalon and the spinal cord, and the brain divides in hemispheres which are the diencephalon, cerebellum, and brain stem, which I will explain later on. The peripheral nervous system, which comprises totally of the peripheral nerves and their ganglia. These nerves are subdivided into cranial, which are 12 pairs, and spinal. Spinal refers to the spinal cord. Okay, now I will explain this drawing that I made, which is not very cool, but it can be understood. Now, this is the proencephalon. The proencephalon consists of only the brain. Now, the cerebellum, it consists of the mesencephalon, and the rhombocephalon consists of the bulge and the beginning of the spinal cord. And now we have the spinal cord, which can be divided into cervical, thoracic, lumbar, and sacral, from top to bottom. Now, I will explain a little bit the function of the nervous system. We can divide the functions into these parts. Motor system. All the structures and area of the nervous system involved in the generation and regulation of voluntary movements. These are the movements that you do voluntary. I mean, to walk or to take a thing. For example, I can take this, and this is a voluntary movement that my motor system is taking. Now, the sensory system comprises all the areas of the nervous system responsible of perceiving and the stimuli. That means the cold, the smells, the taste of something is responsible of the sensory system. When you're cold, the sensory system acts until your body is cold, which makes the blood run to make you feel hotter. Now, in the cognitive system, all the areas involved in the generation and regulation of complex and abstract functions of the brain, such as language, memory, attention, and judgment. This means is one of the most important parts because the cognitive system refers to the most complex things you can do, such as speaking, like I'm doing right now, or thinking in the answer of an exam or something like that. With this, I have explained the macroscopic structure. Next will be explained the microscopic and the stimuli. That means the cold, the smells, the taste of something is responsible of the sensory system. When you're cold, the sensory system acts until your body is cold, which makes the blood run to make you feel hotter. Now, in the cognitive system, all the areas involved in the generation and regulation of complex and abstract functions of the brain, such as language, memory, attention, and judgment. This means is one of the most important parts because the cognitive system refers to the most complex things you can do, such as speaking, like I'm doing right now, or thinking in the answer of an exam or something like that. Now I will explain the microscopic structure of the nervous system, which consists of the neurons. This drawing right here is a neurons, and it's subdivided in these parts. These little things that you can see around here are the dendrites, which are responsible of connections between all the neurons and the brain. This that looks like a little head is the nucleus. The nucleus is the one who makes all the action and sends all the information. The axon is all this tail. The axon terminal is this little fur, something like that, around the tail. Now, this little tail can be subdivided in the Schwann-cell, the Menane, and the Rhombeus mode. And this is all the microscopic structure of a nervous system that consists of neurons, which are in charge of doing all the job that was previously mentioned. Now, the diseases that you can have in your nervous system are Alzheimer, epilepsy, and the Parkinson disease. Alzheimer is such a thing as losing your memory. Epilepsy is like when you hear Skrillex, and Parkinson is a disease in which consists on the frequent neurodegenerative disease. It's like a combination of Alzheimer and epilepsy, because you lose your memory and you have sometimes epilepsy attacks. Now I will explain the endocrine system, which is a system that has the brain, the throat, the kidneys, and the reproductive system. The endocrine system is made up of growth cells that form glands isolated in the epithelium of the respiratory and digestive system. And the endocrine system is basically of hormones in this case. Now, the endocrine system can be subdivided into adenohypophysis and neurohypophysis, which, well, is important that I will explain later on. The adenohypophysis divides into cells and hormones, and they have a specific function which is very long. Now, for example, the somatotropic cell is conformed of somatotropin or growth hormone, and its function is increase the metabolism and stimulate liver to release factors that stimulate the bone growth, which means the growth of a person. And well, that's it about the endocrine system. Some diseases that you can have in the endocrine system is diabetes, which is the consumption of a lot of sugar. And of course, if you have like previous persons in your family that had diabetes, you are very, very like proportional to have diabetes, and this is the endocrine system. Now I will explain the thing that I was going to explain previously. The adenohypophysis, well, it means that it's constituted by endocrine cells surrounded by abundant blood capillaries through which are transported the regulatory factors from the hypothalamus that control the activity of endocrine cells. And that neurohypophysis is formed by nerve fibers that are the axons of neurons, whose cell's body is located in the hypothalamus. Axons are surrounded by piocytes, cells that cover them and contribute to their proper functioning. And well, the endocrine system is the one who has the hormones. And finally, this is my last appearance in the video. It's going to be the reproductive system. Well, the reproductive system, as its name says, is the one in charge of reproduction of human beings. Well, not only of human beings, but also of all living beings around the earth. The reproductive system consists of, well, some organs that I will explain later on. And well, also the reproductive system is divided into men's reproductive system and women's reproductive system. I will start with men's reproductive system. The men's reproductive system consists of, well, one organ, which is the reproductive system. Well, it consists of, well, I will illustrate it a little bit. Testicles and the penis. These testicles are surrounded by the scrotus, which is the protection of these testicles. But why are testicles so important? Because they contain spermatozoids. This sperma is the one that is a very important part in the process of reproduction that I will explain later on. Now, men's reproductive system is like this, but it's not only like this. Men also have something called urethra, I think is this, which here comes the urina, like pee, and men only have one tube of out. This means that from this tube there can be sperma or pee. Yep, like that. Now, when yes, this is basically the men's reproductive system. How can men reproduce? When a man is is hot, is excitated, his penis goes large on, grows in size, and the testicles activate their sperma. And when men finish the process of excitation, it liberates all the sperma to the and the testicles activate their sperma. And when men finish the process of excitation, it liberates all the sperma to the vagina of a woman. But I will explain now the woman's reproductive system to understand better this concept. The woman's reproductive system consists, well, the woman's reproductive system is quite a lot difficult to explain. And well, the woman's reproductive system consists of the fallopian tube, which is this, and the fallopian tube is in charge of sending the ovaries right here. And well, an ovary stay here waiting to be fecunded by sperm. By sperm. If this ovary is not fecunded, then the ovary will go down, and will sooner or later will go out. This process is called by menstruation, when their ovary is not fecunded and it goes down. And when an ovary is fecunded, that means she's pregnant. Yep, she's pregnant, and that means you have a problem or a baby, as you want to call it. Now, there are many sexual diseases, but all of them can be avoided by using one simple thing called condom. If you use this called condom, you can have an active sexual life without having any trouble. The condom is very useful to the persons who have an active sexual life. Now, I will say the most safe condoms in the market. So if you have any doubt or you want to taste something, you don't have any inconvenience. The most ones here in Monterey are Trojan, Protec, and Playboy. Those are the most safe condoms. Thank you.
Contractile apparatus, contractile apparatus, contractile apparatus, contractile apparatus, contractile apparatus.
Macroscopic, 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 macroscopic.
Of the muscular system, of the muscular system, of the muscular system, of the muscular system, of the muscular system.